This momentum oscillator on Ethereum is screaming at us two things. Number one, the upside for Ethereum in this bull market is insanely large and just beginning. And number two, on the short term, be cautious because there could be some more downside. Hit the subscribe and like on the way in. I really just want to dig into it. I like technical analysis because we can just get a nice little candle on a histogram like the weekly Ethereum MACD, and there's so much being told within that story. And I'm going to break that story down for you very quickly. So let's just start. Number one, the indicator itself. It's a MACD reversal, the MACD line crossing above the signal line. All of this histogram has now gone into a red or into a green above the zero. And this is a very bullish thing. That's number one. But it becomes very bullish when we actually start kind of dissecting, okay, when this move has happened before, what followed and what does it mean? And then I'm going to get into the short term and why there is caution here. It's going to be a very nice segue. I zoom out on this Ethereum chart, and I'm going to explain first why this is, I think, the beginning of the crypto altcoin bull market. We already know how oversold we have gotten on this RSI, the slower moving momentum oscillator. And we actually didn't even trickle down into that kind of below 30 on the oversold area. But if you just zoom out, you can see that this move very similar to really previous two bear markets. That's how far down this RSI has fallen. So it's very easy just to say, man, Ethereum has just gotten to this level of oversold and high fear that we've never seen other than two other times, and they were bear market lows. And I want to make a note, this isn't even a bear market low. So then for me, it's kind of this question of, okay, while that's happening and then this MACD is cruising to the upside, what is more relevant data in terms of trying to get a sense of what could happen next, or, from a time frame perspective, have we been here before? Where is that? And I just want to say, this move back here, I don't think it's as relevant compared to this move back here, and that is the bottom of the 2018 bear market. So let me explain that. And let me just first point out, we were having a very bullish MACD cross both times, right? So MACD crossing both times of the bear market, very similar to what's happening now. What's the difference? It's incredibly simple. Then we're going to talk about how this kind of translates into some short-term bearishness. But the difference is, the bottom of the bear market, when we got this oversold, that was quantitative tightening basically just beginning. That's what that was. If you look at 2018 and this oversold area, that was basically, if we look at the chart, signs of quantitative tightening ending, and that is way more similar to kind of this season that we're going into right now. Quantitative tightening, at the very least, slowing down, Fed monetary policy pivot. Everybody's waiting for that. So from a macroeconomic and a Fed monetary cycle standpoint, we are way more here. And not only that, we can sprinkle in just this entire capitulation was tariff fear because of Trump. Look at this. This entire capitulation, tariff fear because of Trump. Now let's take this a step further and bring in that MACD that we started this video with. So the MACD is obviously just a very bullish signal on the zoomed out. You can just take a glance at this and be like, this is good. Doesn't even matter what chart you're looking at, or if you know what chart you're looking at, or you even know what else is happening. It's just, okay, that's a good indicator. But let's actually go back to the more relevant. There's the last bear market low, not as relevant. Let's go back to the more relevant swing low that Ethereum had, and let's look at the MACD then. So here's the end of October, or here's October 2018 into the end of 2018 in general, and there's the MACD just basically turning green. Notice how it's turning green there, and then the MACD line kind of just a little bit of a fake out, a little bit of a consolidation before finally getting that really nice explosive move to the upside. Same with the histogram over here in green for Ethereum. But therein lies kind of the warning. What was going on here? Why was it not just a quick flip into just absolute bull market? Well, let's look at that. November 2018, December 2018 on this chart. Check it out. Well, Ethereum was bottoming out for sure, but then it was kind of about to head up to this area, which is basically a macro resistance area, the 20-week moving average, and then it's coming back down the beginning of January 2019 for a higher low. that's what was happening all in that area. So if we look at that now in the MACD to get a sense of what that looks like, well, check it out. Turning green, right? Yes, turned green, but that wasn't an immediate, hey, on the short term, we're out of the woods, it's game on, it's done, because as we just saw in that move, we were actually coming down and putting in a higher low, right? So look, this is literally a green MACD candle. This is the week of December 24th. And then here we are, the third week of December. And so if we go back and we look at this move, here is the week of the 24th. Here's the end of December. And then boom, starts falling. The reason I'm bringing that up is because, yes, we're seeing a nice move to the upside for Ethereum. Yes, we see a green MACD, but just because we see the start of a green MACD doesn't mean on the short term we are absolutely out of the woods. What is in play right now for Ethereum, even if we're not looking at all these momentum oscillators, even if we're not looking at what, any other altcoin is doing or any other piece of any other chart is doing, if we're just looking at a technical analysis pattern and setup, we can kind of deduce that there is a big resistance area right here, right? Put everything else aside. We have a multi-year trend line that we've been tracking. We actually got the pullback to the triangle apex. This is phenomenal, but no surprise, there's resistance here. So put aside the MACD, put aside previous cycles. Just this chart alone is saying, hey, there might be resistance. In a similar fashion that if we go back to that 2018 bear market low, there was resistance at the 20-week moving average before continuing to the upside, right? So that's a very similar thing on the macro right now. We're hitting a macro resistance area. It's not only that yellow trend line that we see there, but it's also this 50-week moving average around $2,700 to $2,800 is right there as well. Clearly, on this weekly chart, we want to monitor this situation. There's still 3 days, 6 hours left of the weekly. Let's see if Ethereum can close above the 20-week moving average. This is a very key area, right around just about 2,400. The 200-week moving average in red is around 2,450. And we're just obviously in between very key support and key resistance areas. Let's see what Ethereum does. It is 100% a possibility that Ethereum does what it did in 2018 and kind of comes back down and needs to put in a higher low. But we won't know that until kind of the short-term move happens, right? We won't know that until whatever headline is going to move markets one way or the other is going to do it. But these things are just catalysts for the long-term moves. It doesn't matter if the next move is up or down. I think as we zoom out on this chart, Ethereum is in the kind of doorway to the beginning of a bull market. So whether that's first we get some downside and then bull market, or that we get upside and then downside and continue to bull market, doesn't really matter. But I think it's good because I know a lot of people are zoomed in on these charts. If you go to look at the ETH BTC chart, this chart just screams that it's ready for a pullback. And so that is not to say it is guaranteed, but when we have, and this is a zoomed out ETH BTC on the daily, just falling. Like, look at this. It's a big, if we want to see reversal on Ethereum, you can see a good first step is an explosive move above the 20 and the 50-day moving averages. But that story, as it plays out, if this is going to be a long-term reversal, oftentimes consists of very big pullbacks, especially after we get a 20-day crossing above the 50. We talk about this all the time, no matter what chart. So we might see Ethereum sideways. We might see it actually keep falling on the ETH BTC pair, and that could be in an environment where just all of crypto is consolidating. Bitcoin's falling back below $100,000 or something. ETH BTC could be falling back to these moving averages. So that's something to be careful for. From swing high to the moving averages is like a 20% drop. So that volatility on the short term would be normal for Ethereum. But really for me, it's zooming out on these charts and trying to bring all context and all data together. And for me, when I'm looking at this, I'm looking at the momentum oscillators, we are really, I think, at the beginning of a very bullish, powerful move for Ethereum. But that doesn't mean it will happen without pullbacks on this chart. So that's what I'm anticipating. And really, the reason I'm even evaluating Ethereum isn't because I'm a crazy Ethereum bull. It's because I'm an altcoin bull and I'm very interested in altcoins. And I think Ethereum charts are very helpful as just a roadmap, an indicator. So these are my thoughts today. Let me know your thoughts. Hit the subscribe, hit the like. I hope you're doing well out there. I appreciate you cruising through. I'll see you in the next video. God bless.